The Seattle Seahawks took another step towards winning the NFC West with an impressive comeback victory over the New York Jets on the road. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And what we saw on Sunday was a special teams unit that put Seattle in a big hole early, but the defense kept them in the game with big plays, and Geno Smith and the offense won the game for the Seahawks in the end. Let's get right into it. We're going to pick things up in the first quarter with the Jets threatening on the 8-yard line. Aaron Rodgers sees he has Davante Adams one-on-one, the defender's back is turned, and he's already winding up to throw this football. Rodgers is definitely declining a little bit, but this play is a good example of the fact that he still has some arm talent left in the tank. But on the extra point attempt, we see number 99. Now, who is that? That's Leonard Williams. He's having a tremendous year for the Seahawks, and here he gets about 5 yards penetration, reaches up and blocks the extra point attempt. Unbelievable, the big cat already making his presence felt in this game. So the Jets take the early lead, but they only go up 6-0 instead of 7-0. But on the ensuing kickoff, D. Williams would return, and we see Key and Wangu reach his hand up and knock this ball out from Williams, and the Jets would recover. Wow. Down at the goal line, it looks like the Jets are going to run the same play we saw before, with Aaron Rodgers taking a long look at Garrett Wilson. And this causes the defense to react, opening up Isaiah Davis on the pop pass. The Jets also get creative with their offensive line, pulling the center and the right tackle to act as lead blockers for Davis. Having missed the extra point on the previous touchdown, the Jets would punch it in with Breece Hall for the 2-point conversion, going up 14-0. And again, we would see Seattle have some trouble with the kick return. Laviska Shenault would fumble, that's a live football, but the Seahawks fall on it. But their offense would be backed up here. Seattle does have JSN matched up against a linebacker, and Sherwood doesn't have terrible coverage here, but JSN against a linebacker is a complete mismatch, and it's a really nice throw from Geno Smith. Why was JSN matched up against a linebacker? Well, the Jets did something really unusual here. They sent a blitz, and typically when you send a blitz, you go into man coverage. It makes sense, right? You have fewer defenders on the back end to cover all of those zones. Well, the Jets decide to drop into a zone anyway, in an attempt to confuse Geno Smith. It doesn't work. And also, notice how Ken Walker does a great job of giving Geno enough time to get rid of this football. And that is a nice throw. Alright, we've moved into the second quarter, so the teams have switched sides, but this is still the same drive. The Seahawks put a couple of players in motion, and the Jets send a couple of defenders with them, telling Seattle that they're in man coverage. But at the snap, the Jets would only rush with 4 and again drop back into a zone. They're being creative on defense, trying to confuse Geno Smith. But again, it would be Jackson Smith-Njigba, this time finding a hole in the zone. And Geno Smith gets him the football. That's twice in a span of 3 plays that the Jets attempted to confuse Geno Smith, both times resulting in 25-yard gains to JSN. And from this angle, we get a great look. Geno Smith reading the defense, pulling the football down, and then making the throw to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Threatening inside the red zone, the Seahawks would fake the handoff to Ken Walker, and A.J. Barner would pretend to block, and this draws in the defense before Barner would eventually go out for a pass route. It was a nice play design by the coaches, executed to perfection by the players, but what made this play a touchdown was the downfield blocking of DK Metcalf. Touchdown Seahawks, and they are right back in this game. And from this angle, we get a great look at how the threat of Ken Walker moves the defense. But on the ensuing kickoff, again, it's Keenan Wangu for the Jets. Yes, the same player that forced a fumble on an earlier kickoff. Here he's returning the kick. He gets a great head of steam. He is prevented from getting to the outside, but when he turns it up the field, Seattle isn't quite able to squeeze that return lane. They overrun the play a little bit, and McIntosh would miss the tackle. Wangu fights through traffic. 40, 45, foot race with Myers. Myers holds his own for a little bit, but he's going to get taken out. 20, 15, defender hanging off his back. He gets it in. Touchdown, Jets. Oh my goodness, what a kickoff return. Could the Seahawks have done some things a little bit better on this kickoff return? Yes, but hear my heart here. These kinds of returns are exactly why the NFL has changed the kickoff rules. They make it easier for the returners to get these kinds of big returns. In any event, the Jets now lead 21-7 and would have to kick off back to the Seattle Seahawks. And again, Laviska Shenault has trouble with the kickoff, stumbles, fumble, that ball comes out, and it's recovered by the Jets. Are you kidding me? And from this angle, we get a great look. That ball comes out before he hits the ground, otherwise he just would have been down. And the Jets, already up 21-7, are poised to go up 28-7. But here we would see what was, without a doubt, the play of the game. With their backs against the wall, the Seahawks decide to send the house, not only rushing with 5, but also sending Devin Witherspoon on the corner blitz. But the Jets have the perfect play call on for this, with a route combination that will get Garrett Wilson wide open for a touchdown. But Mike Macdonald is a step ahead of the Jets. He drops the tackle, Jaron Reed, and Leonard Williams, who's lined up in the other defensive tackle position, back into pass coverage, taking away this route to Wilson. The Jets never see it coming. Williams tips it to himself, avoids the contact, heads down the sideline, 20, 30, he's got a convoy. Sprinting to the end zone, 91 yards to the house. Leonard Williams saves the game for the Seattle Seahawks. It's the longest interception return by a defensive end in NFL history. It's an incredible play that completely changed the game, and the Seahawks are right back in it, trailing 21-13. Now, I do have to show you this extra point here. There's the original line of scrimmage, and if we just go from the football and track back to the spot of the hold here, we see the trajectory of this kick is low. Myers did not get the ball up and over the line, and the kick was blocked. A rare mistake by Myers, who's having a great season, but he would make up for it later in this game. So the score remains, New York Jets 21, Seattle Seahawks 13. And again, the Jets would get a nice kickoff return, forced out of bounds by the kicker, Jason Myers. But from this point on, the Seattle defense really took over in this game, shutting out the Jets, for the rest of the game. Julian Love sees the play and reacts decisively, getting great penetration, forcing Breece Hall to try to bounce. He would be one-on-one with Reek Woolen, but Woolen would make the tackle. I also want to make sure I mention that the outside linebacker here, the linebacker the furthest away from the football, Ernest Jones, is able to come over and clean up the play. We'll call it a gain of 4. Scoreboard says 2nd and 5. It's more like 2nd down and 6 here. And here the Jets have a toss that looks like it's poised to gain some nice yardage. And so many times in the NFL, we see offenses don't even bother to block the end. We'll see the end get great penetration only to see the running back blow right by him. Well, that's not just any end, that's the outside linebacker Boye Mafe, and he has the speed to move laterally with Breece Hall, and he makes the tackle, again holding him to a 4-yard gain, bringing up 3rd down and 2. Roger sees a lane and he takes off, and it looks like he might be able to gain some yardage, but he's keeping his eyes downfield, and Julian Love recognizes this. Somehow he has the discipline to stay home here. Rodgers has a man open, but he's going to have to layer this throw over the top of Love. Love is able to jump up and knock it away, bringing up 4th down and 2. So the Jets had the devastating 91-yard pick 6, but then they get the great kickoff return. They're in Seattle territory. They really want this drive to continue, so they make the decision to go for it. It's Tariq Woolen one-on-one against Davante Adams, and Reek sits right up at this line to gain. He's not going to give up the easy 1st down, and Davante Adams blows right by him. Was it a little bit risky of Reek to sit up there? Yeah, it was. But it may have been a bit of a calculated risk. These deeper passes are inherently low percentage plays. If you hit them, that's great, but if you don't, of course it's 4th down. The Seahawks would get the football. Adams dives and, let's see what the official rules, catch. It is a catch. No, the other officials come in. They rule it incomplete. The ball hit the ground. Great shot here of the ball touching the turf, and Kobe Bryant knew right away, along with the Seattle sideline. Incomplete pass. So the Seahawks take over with momentum on their side, and I thought this was interesting. They run the ball on 1st down, but not with Ken Walker. They run it with Zach Charbonnet. Spin move, and Charbonnet gains 11 yards. The Jets at this point seem a little shell-shocked. Despite clearly showing the handoff to Charbonnet, the linebackers are slow to react. The offensive linemen, with no linebackers to deal with, get these great double-team blocks right up front at the point of attack because the linebackers hesitated. And when you hesitate, you become a spectator. But a few plays later, the Seahawks would be facing a 3rd down, and the Jets put 6 men up at the line of scrimmage. Seattle responds to this by leaving the running back and the tight end to help with pass protection. But here the Jets take a page out of Mike Macdonald's playbook, dropping these 2 inside guys back into pass coverage. Of course, these guys are linebackers and not nose tackles, but for the Seahawks, because they left extra men in to help with pass protection, they only have a 3-man route. Geno has plenty of time to throw the ball, but with only 3 men running into coverage, he has no one to throw the ball to, and the pass rush gets home for the sack. And this was a big sack because look where that is. It takes the Seahawks out of field goal range. But Seattle sends Jason Myers out anyway. I mentioned earlier he was having a great season. We saw him kick a really long one in Atlanta, and this is going to be another long one here. The kick is up. It does have to travel quite a ways, and it's good. 54 yards. And Seattle tacks on a few more points, making the score 21-16. All right, let's move ahead to the third quarter. The Jets have the ball and they're in Seattle territory with a first down. And I've got to show you from this other angle because once again, Leonard Williams would be making his presence known in this game, getting off his block and taking down Braylon Allen for a loss of 2 yards. On second down, Ernest Jones reacts quickly and decisively to the play, disrupting it. Now, could the Jets throw in something like this, for example, to take advantage of that quick reaction? Well, maybe. A couple of things here. For one thing, Jones didn't react until the ball was already in the air. And something else, the Jets have been criticized this year for sort of not doing that, for not, using these plays to set up other plays. And the Seattle coaching staff clearly had their players well prepared in this game. So now it's 3rd and 13. Again, the Jets have a nice drive going. They would really like to get something out of this, but Draymond Jones immediately beats his man Carter Warren at the snap. Aaron Rodgers has to scramble and the play is already busted. He sees Devin Witherspoon has his back turned, so he throws it up to Davante Adams, but the two just aren't able to connect. And the Jets make the bitter decision to punt from within Seattle territory. So the Seahawks get the ball. They are backed up. They are facing a second down and 13. So in addition to rushing with their front four, the Jets also send a blitz, choosing to keep just one safety back deep. And this leaves DK Metcalf one-on-one, and we see Sauce Gardner is lined up against him in press coverage. And as we've talked about on this channel before, anytime you're lined up in the press, you could get beat off the line, and that's what happens here. And Geno Smith throws an absolute dime. And this is textbook. DK doesn't stick his hands up. He gives Sauce Gardner no idea the ball is coming until it's already too late. And I mentioned that the Jets had sent a blitz. Well, Zach Charbonnet sees the extra rusher coming at the last second and gets just enough of him to allow Geno Smith to get this pass off. Later on in the drive, the Jets would again send a blitz, again leaving DK one-on-one, and when the corner breaks on the route, this time DK burns him with the double move. The pass is a little underthrown, but DK makes a great catch, and you always want this pass to be underthrown rather than overthrown, right? If it's underthrown, either your guy's going to make the catch or it's going to be pass interference. If it's overthrown, it's probably going to be an incomplete pass. And watch how Geno helps to sell the double move with the pump fake. So the Seahawks are in business, knocking on the door. And here the concept is simple. They have DK one-on-one down at the goal line, so Geno gives them the one-on-one shot. This time the Jets put Sauce Gardner back on DK, and this time Sauce Gardner wins. Now, it's no secret that the Jets don't have much of an offense, but they do have an excellent defense, and here we would really start to see the strength of their defensive line, with Michael Clemens and Big Quinnen Williams getting off their blocks and blowing up this play on second down. We'll call it a gain of 1, so now it's 3rd and goal at the 3. Again, nothing too complicated here. It's a one-on-one shot to DK, but we can see Chuck Clark is grabbing and holding onto him while the ball is in the air, and the flag comes out for pass interference. The Seahawks get a first down, and by rule, the ball is placed at the 1-yard line. And again, we see that great Jets defensive line, Quinnen Williams, and the rookie this time, Leonard Taylor, stand up that Seattle offensive line The Seahawks even put their backup center in here to act as a big fullback. He's unable to get any kind of a push. Ken Walker tries to make a move, but the Jets shut it down. On 2nd and goal, it's everyone's favorite play, Spider 2 Y banana, and the play is a success, but Geno Smith just misses Noah Fant in the end zone. On 3rd and goal, Leonard Taylor makes a rookie mistake, lining up offsides. So now it's 3rd and goal with the ball at the half-yard line, and they take another one-on-one shot to DK. And it's just good defense by Sauce Gardner, bringing up a huge 4th down and goal. And I hate the play call. I want to see Geno lined up under center, punch this thing right up the middle into the end zone. If you don't get it, the Jets are backed up. I understand the logic behind it. The coaches decided to go away from the strength of the Jets, away from that strong defensive line. But Geno takes a big sack here. Now, he's marked down where his forward progress is stopped, so he's actually down at the 16-yard line here, not the 20, as would kind of appear. But either way, now the Jets aren't even backed up. It's a terribly disappointing result for Seattle and a huge goal line stand for the Jets. And Breece Hall breaks off his longest run of the day, fumble, and it's recovered by the Seattle defense. Wow. And we see Julian Love come in. Now that arm comes out. Not sure if he was just trying to wrap up or if he was trying to knock that ball out. Either way, the result is the same. It's a fumble, and what a huge play by the Seahawks defense, giving the ball right back to their offense. But here they're facing a 4th down and 6 at midfield. But there was an interesting development that happened in this game. The punter for Seattle, Michael Dixon, was injured, and he did stay in the game in some capacity as a holder, but was clearly not 100%. So Seattle started going for it on all these 4th downs, and we're going to see they had some success. On this particular play, when JSN sees his quarterback scrambling, he runs to space. And Geno finds him, and that was a big play. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba makes plays, and it leads directly to points. The Seahawks would tack on another field goal, inching closer, making the score 21-19. And they would get the ball back. But here again, they're facing another 4th down and 6, but this time the stakes are higher. They're backed up. But the play is whistled dead. The Jets would be penalized for having 12 men on the field. Well, let's count here. We only see 11. Where's the 12th man? Well, they're all looking at him. The Jets, confused by what Seattle's doing on 4th and 6, had a man back to return the punt. So now it becomes a 4th and 1. Now in a position to run the ball on 4th and 1, the defense reacts. And Seattle looks for DK, who appears to be going deep. The safety turns around into a full sprint headed the other direction so he doesn't give up a long touchdown, and DK cuts to the sideline. Now, of course, only DK knows when he's going to make that cut. Stegers is a rookie. He plays this very awkwardly, bumps into DK, knocks him down, and the flag would come out for pass interference. Later on in the drive, Seattle would be facing another 4th down, this time a 4th down and 1. Zach Charbonnet is not going to get there, but take a close look. He's being pulled down by the nameplate. As we know, that's a penalty for a horse collar tackle. This would be half the distance to the goal. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, the Jets are just making a lot of mistakes down the stretch here. That's true. The Jets are an undisciplined team, and Seattle is a better coached team. I think it's no secret that Mike Macdonald is really improving this Seattle team week by week, and we're seeing it down the stretch in this game. And finally, faced with a final 3rd down and 1, Seattle makes what is, without question, my favorite offensive play call of the game, and I think the best offensive play call of the game. They really have struggled with the short yardage. We've taken a look at all of these plays on the film. This time, they put Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet in at the same time, and they put Ken Walker in motion first, moving the defense, and then Charbonnet goes up the middle. Touchdown Seahawks, and Seattle finally takes the lead in this game. So now the Jets need a touchdown. They're facing a 3rd and 10 inside the 2-minute warning. And who else? Who else's name would we call? The big cat Leonard Williams knocks his man 5 yards back and brings Aaron Rodgers down for the biggest sack of the ballgame. Now it's 4th and 16 with a running clock. Now, one thing, when you have 4th and forever, but you're within range of taking a shot at the end zone, a lot of times it makes more sense to just go for the end zone here. Your odds are about the same either way. In fact, we've seen Seattle do this before. Let's go back a few years ago and take a look. 2021 49ers at the Seahawks. Seattle is facing a 3rd down and 15, and they just decide to go for the end zone and DK Metcalf here. DK makes a great catch, and Seattle would punch it in on the next play. All right, turning our attention back to the Jets game, we're going to see this is exactly the strategy New York decides to use here. They call the post corner post for Garrett Wilson, and the Jets have this. But this is a long developing route. Aaron Rodgers is hit as he throws, and the pass falls incomplete. Why was Aaron Rodgers hit as he threw? Well, Mike Macdonald went back to the play that worked so well before, dropping Leonard Williams and Jaron Reed into pass coverage and bringing Kobe Bryant around the edge this time. Turnover on downs, and that would do it. There is your final score. The Seahawks win 26-21. What an incredible game this was. Seattle moves into sole possession of first place in the NFC West, and they can really go a long way towards locking up that division title with a win next week at Arizona. Folks, I want to thank all my new subscribers. You guys have been absolutely great. We do these videos every week. We cover the entire NFC West, so if you're new here and you like what you see, please subscribe. We have a great community here, and we'd love to have you aboard. In fact, leave me a comment. I read every comment. You can tell me to get lost, get bent, whatever. Just leave me a comment. Let the people know what you're thinking, what's on your mind. What are your thoughts on this game? Because this really was an incredible game. The special teams had a terrible play. The defense kept them in the game. The offense won the game at the end. Oh, it was just so exciting. All right, I want to thank those of you who have gone the extra mile to help support this channel. You guys, your support means so much to me. It allows me to take the time to do these videos right, to give you the quality that you deserve. And I want to extend an extra special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Guys, you humble me, you honor me, you are an essential part of this team. I could not do these videos without you. Thank you so much. All right, it's going to be the Seahawks at the Arizona Cardinals in what is a massive, massive NFC West game, which could decide the winner of the division. Of course, that won't be decided next week. It might come down to the final weeks or maybe even the last game, but it will go a long way towards deciding that. And I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but you know we are going to be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.